Welcome to BK Academy of Chess. The Grünfeld Defense is a chess opening characterized by the moves d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, d5. The opening relies on one of the main principles of the hypermodern school, which was coming to the fore in the 1920s, that a large pawn center could be a liability rather than an asset. The main line of the Grünfeld is the exchange variation and runs as follows: c takes d5, knight takes d5, e4. Now white has an imposing-looking center, and the main continuation knight takes c3, b takes c3, strengthens it still further. Black generally attacks white's center with c5, and bishop g7, often followed by moves such as c takes d4, bishop g4, and knight c6. White often uses his big center to launch an attack against black's king. One sub-variation, frequently played by Karpov, including 4 games of his 1987 World Championship match against Kasparov in Seville, Spain, is the Seville variation. After bishop g7, bishop c4, c5, knight e2, knight c6, bishop e3, castle, castle, bishop g4, f3, knight a5, bishop takes f7, was considered to be a poor move by theory, as the light square weakness seemed to give black more than enough compensation for the pawn. White can develop his pieces in a number of ways in the exchange variation. For decades, theory held that the correct method of development was with bishop c4, and knight e2, often followed by castle, and f4, to f5, playing for a central breakthrough or king-side attack. It was generally thought that an early knight f3 was weak in the exchange variation because it allowed black too much pressure on the center with bishop g4. In the late 1970s, however, Karpov, Kasparov and others found different methods to play the exchange variation with white, often involving an early rook b1, to remove the rook from the sensitive a1, h8 diagonal, as well as attempting to hinder the development of black's queenside. Another, relatively recently developed system involves quickly playing bishop e3, queen d2, and rook c1, or rook d1, to fortify white's center, remove white's rook from the diagonal, and possibly enable an early d5 push by white. For players who do not wish to take on the complexities of the exchange variation, the move bishop f4 is generally considered a safer continuation for white. White opts for the initiative on the queen side with a smaller pawn center. In the main line, play proceeds with bishop g7, e3, c5, d takes c5, queen a5, with white's choices at his 7th move being c takes d5, queen b3, queen a4, or rook c1. Despite its reputation, in statistical databases this variation shows only a slightly higher percentage of white wins and draws, as opposed to the exchange variation. In this variation, play may also continue with castle, which is known as the Grünfeld gambit. White can accept the gambit by playing c takes d5, or decline with queen b3, or rook c1, to which black responds with c5. So after c takes d5, the line continues with knight takes d5, knight takes d5, queen takes d5, bishop takes c7. Systems in which white delays the development of his queen's knight to c3 are known as the Neo-Grünfeld defense. Typical move orders are d4, knight f6, c4, g6, f3, d5, or, more commonly, d4, knight f6, c4, g6, g3, d5. The latter is known as the Chimera variation. A popular variation is the Russian system, which follows knight f3, bishop g7, queen b3, in bringing more pressure to bear against black's central outpost on d5. White practically forces d takes c4, thus gaining a central preponderance. However, in return, his queen will often be exposed as black's queenside play unfolds in the middle of the game. After d takes c4, queen takes c4, castle, e4, black has several primary options at hand. The Hungarian variation, a6, has been championed by Peter Leko. A topical line from the 1950s through the mid-1970s was bishop g4, bishop e3, knight fd7. Black also has the prince variation with knight a6, or knight c6, the recommendation as the main line by several recent Grünfeld texts. Other lines are c6 and b6. Another popular variation is the Taimanov's variation with knight f3, bishop g7, bishop g5. In this line, favored by Yasser Serouan, after the nearly universal knight e4, white may play bishop h4, knight takes c3, b takes c3, or c takes d5, and knight takes c3, b takes c3, queen takes d5, or knight takes g5, knight takes g5, e6. White has queen d2, e takes d5, queen e3, with attacking chances, or the more usual knight f3, e takes d5, after which play generally proceeds on lines analogous to the queen's gambit declined, exchange variation, with a queenside minority attack by white with b4, b5, and b takes c6, as black aims for his traditional kingside play with f5, e4, and, in this case, g5. Some other popular continuations to consider are the Taimanov variation bishop g5, the Flower variation knight f3, bishop g7, queen a4, the quiet system also known as the slow system knight e3, bishop g7, e3, and the Nadanian variation with c takes d5, knight takes d5, knight a4. And there you have it, the Grünfeld defense. Thanks for tuning into BK Academy of Chess, where together we build, and over the board we even the score.